Well, happy Tuesday evening, everyone. This is Sarah Hine for our Tuesday night mental wellness. And if everybody can just mute themselves, that would be fantastic. I'm getting some feedback. So if everyone is being recorded, completely mute themselves, that would be amazing. And 1 second. Hey, can everybody mute themselves? I've got somebody who's not muted. Brenda. Sorry, Brenda, I'm muting you. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So I am Sarah Hine, and I am the host this evening for Tuesday Night Mental Wellness. We show up every Tuesday night to serve all of you with very, very common topics to help give you the resources, the support, and honestly, the community to help you make healthier choices with a more holistic approach for your family. And tonight we have the one and only Dr. Shawn Talbott on. He is known as our unicorn man. He's been deemed that, probably not what he wants to be known as. I don't even know how that started, but it did. And what I love about Dr. Shawn is his background as a nutritional biochemist is just absolutely outstanding. And he spent a couple decades of his life, really studying and being a huge advocate for mental health, mental wellness, and the gut-brain connection. But we're very fortunate to have him here at Amari Global. In fact, he's formulated all the products. So this is the person to hear from. And as we get started tonight, really the topic is, what are the benefits of gut-brain connection, short-term, long-term? And we had a question in the chat box that I would love to just have you briefly answer, is, your recommendation for somebody with psoriasis. Do you mind answering that question before we get started?
This is maybe even a good place for us to start our discussion about the gut-brain axis, right? So someone would say, what is a skin condition like psoriasis or eczema or acne for that matter? What does that have to do with the gut-brain axis? Well, nothing, right? They would think, right? But actually, if you trace the trajectory biochemically of what's happening on the skin, what you're observing, it's something that is related to immune system function, and it's something that's related to inflammation. And so the typical approach would be, well, it's something on the skin, so let's use a topical to calm the inflammation right there, right? So you'd rub some anti-inflammatory cream on there and it would go away temporarily, but it would eventually come back. And that's because it's being driven by your immune system. That inflammation on your skin is being driven by your immune system, which is in your body. And so there are some approaches where there are medicinal approaches, pharmaceutical approaches that would suppress your immune system. So your immune system is less active and would create less inflammation. And so you'd get less of these skin problems. But that's not getting at the root of the problem either. If you look at the root of the problem is probably something going on in your gut. It could be a disruption in your microbiome. So you don't have enough good bacteria to calm the inflammation. You have too many bad bacteria that are driving the inflammation. It could be the integrity of your gut. So you might have a leaky gut, which can lead to immune system problems and inflammation problems. So you look at this and you say, well, it's a skin issue. And you look underneath that and you say, well, it's not a skin issue. It's an inflammation issue. And you look under that and you say, well, it's not an inflammation issue. It's an immune system issue. And you look under that and you say, well, what's driving the immune system immune system problems and inflammation problems? It's a gut issue. And so you can solve that skin problem by fixing the actual problem, which is a gut problem. And so, it just so happens that the same biochemical principles that our mentobiotics and our kids' fundamentals address for mental wellness to help people feel better are also addressing the immune system, are also addressing inflammation, because those are related to how we feel, just like they're related to what's happening on your skin. So I would say to somebody who's having a skin issue like that, look at what's going on in your gut and use something like mentobiotics or kids' fundamentals to fix the root of those systemic issues.
I love that question was asked because, Shawn, I've been here since day one of Amari, and our granddaughter was 2 at the time. She is now 7. And she really struggled with some mental health issues. She wasn't sleeping good. She had some behavioral issues, but she also, from day one that she was born, had eczema, really bad psoriasis. And we put her on Amari for the other reasons. And 3 weeks later, my daughter called me and said, Mom, Oh my gosh, it is completely, she had like solid patches, it's completely healing over. So it's very interesting that that question came out tonight, because that's what I really wanted to deep dive with you, is for people just getting started on Amare. I'm almost 5 years in now, and I know how I feel 5 years in. And the thing, Shawn, that I feel really passionate about is preparing people for expectations when they first get started, and what that looks like, how that can prevent things in the future, so long term, and then the problem solving in between. When sometimes we feel like we plateau. So let's just start from the first question is, Shawn, when somebody's just getting started on Amare, what would your recommendation be, first of all, for helping them figure out what to get started on,
Mhm.
stacking, what products with what, and what can they expect in the first few weeks to couple of months?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'd even back it up just one step and ask people, why would they be interested in Amari products in the first place? What we address, we're going to talk about gut health and gut brain axis and microbiome and some of that kind of stuff. But the people who are the best candidates for what we're doing here at Amari are people who have some excess stress in their lives, and that might be everybody who's listening to us right now. It could be people who don't get 8 hours of sleep every night. It could be people who want to have better mental focus or memory. It could be people who are just a little fatigued during the day, and they want to get a little more sort of pep in their step. It could be people who want to improve their mood and their resilience. People are sometimes surprised to hear me, as somebody who's been studying stress for the last 20 or so years, to say, a lot of people don't want to lower their stress. A lot of people want to raise their resilience so they can handle their stress better or handle even more stress. So those are the kinds of people that are going to be looking at our products and saying, these are benefits or these are problems that I need to have solved. And then the question becomes, when they say, all right, Amari, let me see what you got. We have a lot of offerings. And so for people to choose, we've got about 24 products now. So they all help you, quote unquote. I do this all the time. I do it in quotes. All of our products help you feel better, but some of those products are going to be mood products, and you'll feel better because your mood is better. Some of those products are going to be energy products. You'll feel better because you're less fatigued. Some are going to be confusion products, right? They're going to be products that help lift your brain fog so you can focus better and think better and remember better and things like that. Some, instead of your energy, some are actually going to help you relax, right? So all of those are, and many others, are ways that we can help people feel better. And so people have to choose which of those are the things that are most predominant in their lives and they want to focus on. And I get it. As soon as I list off all of those, your stress is lower, your energy is higher, your mood is better, people are going, yes, please, yes, please, yes, please. I don't want to choose. I'll just take all of that. But we don't want people that feel like they have to have all of that. That's why we do these stacks that you just referred to. We'll say, here's a product that gives you energy, and we're going to stack that with a product that gives you motivation, and we're going to stack that with a product that addresses some of these resilience benefits at the level of your gut. Like that, those three products would be our happy juice pack. We can look at it and say, somebody hears about the gut brain axis and they want all the resilience and the focus and the good mood that comes with that. That's our fundamentals pack. It's a product for the gut, a product for the brain, a product for the axis that connects those two brains. So, you can say, I want all that, but I want it for my kids. Well, we have a kids pack that delivers that. So it's this idea of saying, here are these ways that we can not just deliver you one individual product that delivers benefits, but then say, let's see if we can layer those benefits in ways that are speaking to the big issues that a lot of people are looking for. So is it mental fitness? Is it resilience? Is it happiness? And then we create packs around that people can use as their stepping off points.
I love it. It's a customizable plan based on just finding out and asking the right questions of, what are you struggling the most with? What do you want to improve the most on? Is the question I love to ask. And then as they start to achieve that, it's like if you're in an act, if you stub your toe hurts. But if you stub your toe and break your arm's going to hurt more than the toe.
Right.
What I have found in Amari is, as people start to, if sleep is a real big issue and they start to sleep better, they're now sleeping better, but now they're realizing that they want to lose some weight, that's bothering them. And so I think part of this journey, health is a journey. Would you agree? It's that unlayering one thing after another. So it's really important for people to be in tune to that. Start what's bothering them the worst first. And then realize that sometimes when they hit that plateau, it's because they're hitting that stub toe, right? They're hitting the stub toe now. Would that make sense?
Yeah, it's you just said that sort of analogy of an onion, right? So
Yeah.
you fix that outer layer, that thing that was really noticeable to you that you can see and feel on a daily basis. Once that one's solved, now you go down to this next layer and you're like, oh my gosh, I wasn't even perceiving that as a problem because this other problem was taking up all my bandwidth, so to speak. So you solve the sleep issue, and then you go down and now you can solve your daytime fatigue issue, and then you can go down and you can solve your irritability issue, and then you can go down and you can solve your brain fog issue. So that's a very, very common sort of a thing that we see, that people get. And the way I describe it to people is that when you get into the Amara universe, you might feel better immediately with one set of products, and you'll go for a period of time, and you might even want to switch over to another set of products because now you've become a different person. Now that these issues are solved, now you can work on these issues, and now you can work on these issues, and that enables people to get better, and then more better and more better and more better. And it's not like you go better into infinity, right? It's not like that. But you'll certainly get to a point where you are definitely a better version of who you were before. And you can literally look back and go, oh my gosh, I don't ever want to go back there. Or, the other way that people will say it is they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think I needed any of these things way back there. I thought I was fine. And now look where I am. Look how I'm performing now because of all the things I've been able to change.
That's where I'm at. I can look back at 5 years and go, I was a hot mess. And I look at where I'm at now and I'm like, oh my goodness. So I think what most people struggle with, I struggled with this, is that after a couple of months, I was feeling better. And then you become kind of complacent or you feel like you've hit that plateau and you think, I don't need this anymore. Or you start to think it's not working anymore. Talk to us about that. Talk to us about that phase when somebody gets to that like second, third month.
Yeah, I wish I knew why that happened. I've been seeing this for over 20 years, right? Even in the clinical trials that we do, when we're actually measuring people on a weekly basis, and we're measuring their blood sugars and their stress hormones like cortisol, we're measuring their microbiome, and we're measuring, like, quantifying their psychological mood state in all these different ways. So we know all the details, and we can show somebody over the course of a month or 2 months or 3 months, look, all your numbers are going in the right direction. You feel 50% better in this way and this way and this way than you did before. We can show them the numbers. But what happens is we as humans are very good at sort of adapting to our new situation. So you are in fact better than you were before, but you don't necessarily sense it because it happened in these little incremental steps. If I were able to improve somebody's overall mood state by 50% in one day, and I could just say, all right, today you feel terrible, tomorrow you're going to feel 50% better, you would absolutely know that. You'd wake up the next day and you'd go, hallelujah, my life has changed. It was a miracle, right? But if I do that 0.5%, 0.5%, 0.5%, 0.5% every single day, you're progressively getting better. Some people will notice it earlier than other people will notice it, but it's that analogy of how to boil a frog. You turn up the temperature little by little by little by little, and there finally you have a cooked frog. I don't know why that's a thing, but that's a thing that people talk about, right? But we see that all the time. It's kind of a gross thing. It's a gross thing, exactly. But so, like, we can show people with the data, and people around them can point to them and say, hey, you are way better than you were before. But sometimes that individual loses the ability to recognize where they were.
100%. So in the progression of the first few months, people usually start to feel a difference. If they're not feeling a difference, it's really, and I love to tell people when I'm working with someone, I want to know what's working, what's not, because it is about a fine tweak. Sometimes it is adding something or doing a little bit extra of something. Would you agree to that? Because
Yeah,
everyone's
it's
so different.
yeah. One of the challenges with this whole area is the one that we just described, that people are getting better and sometimes can't necessarily sense that in themselves, but other people around them can sense them, and the numbers show that that they're getting better. The other piece of it is not really knowing what it is that you're trying to address. And the way I describe that is that people will generally know that they don't feel as good as they potentially could, right? They just
Right.
feel kind of blah, right? Feel okay, but not great. But you don't necessarily know why. Is it a mood thing? Is it an energy thing? Is it a sleep thing? Is it a brain fog thing? And so again, all of those could potentially be your thing, but unless you know for sure, you might choose the mood one, and it really is a stress one. Does
Right.
that make sense? And so that's one of the reasons that when we started this thing 5 years ago, selling products for 4 years or so, we said, you know what, because of that, let's give everybody 100% money back guarantee so that we can really encourage people to try whatever product they're interested in. And if it's not the one for them, we will give you your money back. So hopefully you'll trust us and say, well, let me try this one over here. Let me try that one over there. Or the idea of stacking that we just said a few minutes ago. Maybe it's not just a mood issue for you. Maybe that's it, and you're using the mood product. But now we also need to control your stress, or we also need to improve your sleep quality. We also need to, you get the idea. That's where this idea of stacks comes in. It makes it a lot easier for people to actually get the benefits. And, a lot of people don't necessarily care, was it my mood or was it my stress or what was it? They just care about the benefits that are on the backside of that. They just want to feel better and perform better. And we can help them do that.
Absolutely. My husband's a car guy. He has a 68 Mustang, loves old cars. And he's a firm believer that you have to take great care of your car. You have to change your oil. You have to do maintenance. And if you don't, it's going to burn out things. I'm not a car person. I'm not even going to try to attempt. But he always says that people often will take better care of their cars than they do of their bodies.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Right. Right. Same in the horse world. My daughter's into horses. I've always seen any of you drop a 1 if you're into horses. I'm just curious, and drop a 2 in the chat box if you're into cars. I'm just curious, want to see the audience tonight. Let's get a little participation going here. The reason why I'm saying this is in the horse world and in the car world, you will see people spend a whole lot of money in maintenance and taking care of their horses and their cars than themselves. I have found in my 4 years here at Amare that the longer I have been on this, I'm preventing a lot of things long term. Can you talk about when you're really looking at that restoration of the gut brain connection, things like, what are some things that science is revealing to us that it can help with potentially Alzheimer's or Parkinson's disease, or dealing with other health issues? Can you speak to that? Because that's something we can't see. That's something we can't feel right now.
This whole idea that we talk about here and that we really exploit here at Amare, the microbiome, the gut-brain axis, is fundamentally changing how we think about all of human health. There are hundreds and hundreds of biotech companies that have been formed over the last 5 years to exploit this idea of the microbiome and the gut-brain axis, because it's not just involved in mental wellness, like what we're focusing on, but it's also involved in every aspect of human health. Anti-cancer benefits, there are biotech companies formed around that. Huge pharmaceutical divisions have been formed around that. Alzheimer's and Parkinson's are, we view them as brain diseases, but we're really starting to think of them now as gut brain diseases, because they can start in the gut maybe as much as a decade before you start to see any of the symptoms in the brain. Things like essential tremors in Parkinson's, and memory problems and forgetfulness and Alzheimer's. There are the gut is involved, like we talked about earlier, in the inflammatory cascade. The gut is involved in the maintenance of the nervous system. We have done some studies here at Amare where we show that if we can improve what's happening in the gut, we can increase the production of things like BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which can actually stimulate the growth of new neurons. So you can think better and perform better, and your brain actually learns better because it's able to change its shape in response to its environment and things like that. So there's a lot of really, really cool research coming out. In fact, the last 6 months or so, there's been a lot of studies coming out around the microbiome and its involvement in longevity, being able to take a an old organism and basically de-age them. So the microbiome, in a sense, might be thought of as the fountain of youth in a certain way. So that speaks to this idea that mental wellness and physical health are really just different sides of the same coin. They are linked through biochemistry. And one of the reasons that we focus on the mental wellness piece first is because we can change that quickly. We can help somebody feel better with their stress in a day. We can help somebody feel better with their brain fog in a week. We can improve your resilience in 2 or 3 weeks. We can improve mood states like depression and anxiety in 3 or 4 weeks, right? So the fact that we can have meaningful impacts like that, so you can have a better day, in a day or a week or a month, that's great, because if you feel better, you're going to keep doing that thing that's keeping you feeling better. And pretty soon you're going to see these physical health benefits. Your cardiovascular system is going to work better. Your nervous system is going to work better. Your connective tissue system, which is your skin and your joints, are going to work better. So like those physical health benefits start to manifest pretty soon after you start feeling those mental wellness benefits.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's going back to my husband with the car thing. We have horses, we've got car people in here, we've got skis. Somebody said she's a 3 and she's into skiing. You got to have great skis, right? When you have junky skis, you're not able to cut like you want to. So with that said, long-term benefits is that preventative measure. It is keeping the oil change, so to speak, in our bodies. And what I've noticed, Shawn, and am I accurate in saying this, after 4 years of really, really being on the Amari products and being very faithful to it, when I have seasons of really hard stress, which we're all going to face, I feel now that true resiliency. I'm not there very long. I feel stronger mentally to handle it, but it's not just mentally, it's also physically. Before, I would just be wiped. I would be exhausted. I wouldn't sleep good at night. And I have a lot of stress in my life. And I think everybody has a lot of stress in their life. And I'm like that weeble wobble, bam, I just bounce back up. I know that sounds old because most people don't know what weeble wobbles are, but they're an old toy back in the day that tipped over and went right back up. And I can do that now instead of like falling flat on my face.
Right.
And
That's resilience. That's what we talk about when we have that mental resilience, but you also have that physical resilience, so that if you do get an injury or some sort of a physical insult, your body's able to go through its turnover process more efficiently and come back even stronger. So we see that mentally, we see it physically.
Absolutely. When I look at why people might plateau when they're on a program for a few months and say they're doing our GBX Fit program, and they've lost some weight, they've lost some inches, and all of a sudden they begin to plateau. Talk to us about that. What would be your recommendation?
Yeah, usually the recommendation there is to either keep with it and you'll eventually fall off that plateau, or change something up. And it's almost like a flip of a coin to decide, like, are you going to stick with exactly what you're doing and you're going to eventually start going in the right direction again, or change something up and you're going to magically start going in the right direction again. We don't know which of those is going to be right for that individual person. It could be because your body has become accustomed to the amount of exercise you're doing, or the amount of sleep that you're doing, or the amount of calories that you're bringing in, or something like that. And even though we don't want people thinking of any of our programs as like calorie counting or exercising to burn a certain number of calories, or like any of that kind of nonsense, sometimes changing things up can give almost like a little jolt to the body, where the body gets out of its complacency. And that can sometimes help for people.
Absolutely. Do you think it's good to do? I do a checklist in my head and I think of, am I under a lot of stress right now? Sometimes I don't even realize it. And all of a sudden I realize I've been under a lot of stress. And when I'm under stress, I tend to plateau because my body is on a marathon.
Yeah. Well, right? This is the secret of GBX Fit, that we really are trying to change those signals that originate from the microbiome and go from the from the gut all the way across the gut-brain axis. Those signals, some of those signals are stress hormones. Some of them are glucose signals, blood sugar. Some of them are inflammatory signals. Some of them are immune system signals. There's a variety of these signals that all lead to, what is my appetite going to look like? Am I going to have cravings or not? Am I going to be storing fat or releasing fat? Those are all different kinds of signals that we can modulate at the level of the gut. So, if there's other things going on in your life that are interfering with those signals, interfering with good signals and, blocking them or sending bad signals in, you could be more stressed out. You could be a little sleep deprived. You could be worrying about something that's going on with your job or your family. You could be traveling. I mean, it could be a variety of different things that are introducing static into the system, so to speak. So, those are things that can cause you to plateau because it's fighting against the good signaling that we're trying to do with GBX Fit.
Okay, I love that you just said that, because I have had static lately in my own life. And I never thought of it that way. That's really good. But what I have learned through you, Shawn, but I didn't think of the word static, so I'm going to say that now. When I have static, I do this checklist. How am I sleeping? If I'm not sleeping good and I have monkey brain, I had a few weeks where I was finding myself getting up again at night and having monkey brain. I took a couple mood this time before I went to bed, and I took some sleep. Boom, got rid of that static. If I tend to have a nauseous stomach, and when I'm under stress, I've realized I take some digestive. Boom, I get rid of that static. Yep. So is it fair to say that as we are on this journey of the gut-brain connection, and as the months go by, it is so vital for us to listen to our bodies, listen to that static, and start to recognize, where is it coming from? Where is it coming from? And be able to have the tools in which to help us get out of it.
100%. So let's use GBX Fit as an example again, right? So that is working. That's the 4 biotics, right? Probiotic, prebiotic, postbiotic, phytobiotic, all of those. So that's doing a lot. But in some people, maybe you need more signaling help in addition to what this is doing in your brain. And so that might be mood plus, it might be mental focus, it might be edge, etc. It could be that you need more signaling help in your gut. Like you might have really bad leaky gut. You might have really bad inflammation in your gut. You might have really poor mucus lining in your gut. There could be all kinds of things that maybe GBX Fit isn't potent enough, at least in the early stage, or when you get to a plateau because of other things happening. So you might want to add one of the gut products like digestive or mentobiotics, or, so that's where this idea that we started with of stacking comes in, to say, like, well, for a period of time, you might need more products. And, once you solve those issues, you might be able to go back to less products. If you're really stressed out, you might need more products. And then when you go on vacation, you need less products, right? So it's that idea of being able to kind of listen to your body and kind of surf with what's going on in your life and in your gut-brain axis, and supplement, appropriately to whatever it is that you're experiencing.
I love that you just said that, because I learned how to surf with you.
That's right.
And it's true, because I think what happens, Shawn, and I see it all the time, and I've done it, is that when we're not listening to this, to the surf, it's actually very quiet when you get up on that surfboard, and we don't listen to the quietness of life in our own bodies. When we're not in tune, we start to think, oh, this isn't working anymore. Right. And plateauing doesn't work anymore. And it's not it at all. It's just that we're not listening to the signals, and we have to train our brains to start listening to us and stop looking for this Band-Aid, and to start seeing what's going on around in our environment.
Right. I'll even say to people sometimes, as a scientist who studied this for a long, long time, when somebody says to me that these very research-based products, if they say, like, I don't think it's working for me, I'll say, well, it might not be for you. You should stop. And people, I think, are sometimes surprised that I would tell somebody to stop taking the products, but sometimes that's the thing that gets somebody very quickly in a couple of days to go, uh-oh, they were working. Like, I can feel going back to where I was before, where I was not maybe as sensitive to notice I was getting better and better and better. So, and I don't know why that happens, but it happens enough where it's, I know it's a real thing.
Which is very true. In fact, I just had this conversation with somebody the other day, that they had someone that stopped taking all of the Amare, and they realized a couple months later, I did feel better on it.
Right.
They almost had to go off of it because it was such a slow transition
Yep.
to feeling better, that they kind of forgot how it felt to like feel like crap until they went off of it. And then they realized I did feel better on it. And
Right.
so, I mean, that does happen.
And
So if somebody is struggling with, like, say, the GBX fit, would you recommend like some problem solving tips for them? Would you recommend maybe doubling up on antibiotics for a while, adding digestive for a while? If they're under stress, adding more mood? Are those the types of things, even a reboot? Like, I find every 3 or 4 months, if it's gone by, I just know that I know I need a reboot again.
yeah,
Would
yeah.
you
And you know,
recommend?
like we talked about a few minutes ago, it's very individualized, right? So some
Mhm.
people, if you know, adding something for the brain is going to be the trick. Some are going to add for the gut is going to be a trick. This is one of the reasons that I love what is happening across social media. You know, people saying, you know, hey, this is what worked for me. This is what worked for me. This is what worked for me. That's great that it worked for you, but the fact that people are sharing it, that puts that information out there for someone to go,
Right.
oh, well, let me try that. Maybe that'll be the thing that works for me as well. You know, so that way of saying there's no one black and white way that's going to work 100% of the time for 100% of the people. That's why these products are what we refer to it as flexible usage. So for some people, they'll say, oh, I just take 1 capsule a day of GBX Fit, and that's my thing. And other people take 2 capsules a day. And other people take 2 capsules a day and they add it with Edge because they want to get those benefits too. And other people add it with Mentobiotics because they want to get those sort of resilience benefits. So it really is, what is your unique situation? What is your unique microbiome and gut brain axis? What is your unique set of goals that you're trying to move towards? And we honestly, we have the solution for you, and we want to make sure that we are there as a partner to help you cobble that together.
I love it because there is no one size fits all. We're all a little bit different. And I love the honesty in Amari of that. And I love the fact that it's customizable, the stacking, and to talk to the person that is helping you help figure out to problem solve through that. It's really cool, Shawn. I'm seeing in the chat box right now exactly what you just said. People are talking about different issues, different health issues, different symptoms that they've dealt with, and people are sharing what they took, what worked. And that's exactly what you're talking about, that people are doing, talking to one another and problem solving through it. So, really, and in conclusion, give it time, be patient, and continue to problem solve and look at your environment and what you're going through around you, what you need. Don't compare to somebody else. Don't compare if somebody's doing one thing and they're getting great results and you might not be getting those same results. You might be like my little Scarlett, my little granddaughter, who had other issues going on, and that root that was causing her eczema was really a whole bunch of other
Yep.
issues.
Yep. Exactly.
Right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's 100% it, right? There are certain principles that we can follow for everybody, right? We know that the microbiome and the gut-brain axis is involved, sort of like at the root of a lot of these things that we observe, and our mood and our energy levels, and we started talking about skin. So we know that that's the thing that needs to be rebalanced across the board in everybody. But how we get to that point of balance is going to be a little bit different for everyone. And so, like, what we see now is, the thousands and thousands of people that are using our products, we see that everybody has their own sort of little cocktail of things. They're like, this is my plan, and somebody else has a different plan, and somebody else has a different plan. They're all unique, but they all share the same principles in terms of rebalancing across the gut-brain axis. And we know that because it's what we see people sharing all over social media. It's that
Totally.
products are a piece of it, the people are a piece of it. So yeah,
It's
the more
true.
you can bring that together, the better.
And I can just say this, 4 years ago, I heard you say that this would happen. I witnessed it. I remember you saying there's going to be a day where we're going to see how it affects this person will be different than how it affects this person, or how it affects this person will be different than that person. And I'm witnessing it. And I'm also witnessing the long-term benefits. And it's phenomenal. I mean, I just want to encourage all of you listening, especially for those of you that are new, be patient, and you got to change the oil in your car or it's going to burn up the engine. I think that's what it does, right? That's what it does. It does something bad. I know, because my husband's like, He is like a drill sergeant with oil being changed. And I am that way with health. If you do not take care of yourself, you're going to burn out your engine. And so listen, even those days when you feel like, is this doing anything? It is long term. You just sometimes don't always notice it that day, but it's the cumulative phased benefits, correct, Shawn? That
Right,
over
exactly.
time can prevent so much, and be willing to stay connected to the community. Shawn, thank you so much for your time and for just your expertise, and sharing all sorts of fun analogies. And I look forward to doing all sorts of crazy things like surfing with you when I'd never done that before. And you're right, it's very quiet when you get up on that
Oh
surfboard.
yeah, yep.
It is very
Tough.
quiet. And I feel like mental wellness is peaceful and quiet, just like standing up on a surfboard. It's like you think of these crashing waves and the chaos, and you get up there and it's like calm.
Right.
And that's how I would describe Amare and the long-term benefits, is that you're calm. And so
Yeah.
listen, for all of you listening, really excited to bring calm into your life, into your family's life. God bless you, Shawn. Say hi to your lovely wife, Julie. All right, for everybody listening, listen, talk to the person that brought you here tonight. They are going to guide you in what stackable, customizable program is right for you. If you're feeling like you're in a plateau, they're going to guide you through that. And if you're just getting started, I'm really excited to see where you are 2 to 3 to 4 years out from now. All right, good night, everybody. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing.
Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
Shawn. All right, God bless you all. Bye, everyone.